In this day and age, being good isn't the only cutoff for the UFC. You need to be backed up by social media warriors for your name to be truly known. History has shown us various ways fighters have achieved stardom. McGregor's charisma, Khabib's unbeaten 29-0 record, and Jon Jones' sheer dominance, to name a few. Whether it's luck or misfortune, the UFC universe is often unaware of some remarkable talents. Today, we turn the spotlight on one such fighter, who is still virtually unknown to many casual UFC fans. Shavkat Nomad Rakhmonov. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a fighter born in Uzbekistan in 1994 and received citizenship from Kazakhstan in 2017. Having an ancestry that glorifies warrior culture, it was no fluke that Shavkat landed in the UFC. From a young age, Rakhmonov loved fighting, whether it be with kids his age or even those who were older than him. His interest in combat sports peaked when he saw fighters like Fedor, Emelianenko, and Mirko Cro-Cop destroy their opponents. Soon after, Shavkat took up combat sambo and eventually shifted towards MMA competition.
Начал когда самбо заниматься, он когда наш тренер стал, так я уже полностью ему пришел. Я другим соревнованиям вообще не уступал.
As if it wasn't evident enough that the Nomad was destined for glory, he proved it by becoming the world and Asian champion as an amateur for the World Mixed Martial Arts Association before he even turned 20. Shavkat had now tasted blood, and he wanted more. In 2014, he went to Russia to further hone his skills under the M1 Global promotion. All of this was an attempt to one day make it to the UFC. His debut was against fellow welterweight Adam Surov, a perfect test for a fighter like Rakhmonov. The Nomad defended against Surov's takedown attempts and submitted him via triangle choke in the first round.
Great awareness there from Shavkat. And he's got him. He taps. That was one opportunity he got.
However, there was another special moment that day, and that was the presence of Khabib Nurmagomedov, Khabib's father, in Shavkat's corner. Perhaps this is the reason why Rakhmonov has been so dominant. The Kazakhstani fighter then went on to display his striking power in his second and third fights, knocking out Marcus Vinicius in the first round in a match for the Kazakhstan Mixed Martial Arts Federation. And then just 5 months later, knocking out Bartosz Kirik in the first round as well, this time under the M1 promotion.
It's over. He's out. Wow.
With both of his opponents being more experienced than Rakhmonov, it just made these victories even more exciting as to what's to come. 2 months after the Bartosz fight, Shavkat would make quick work of Mikhail Winchik, submitting him via guillotine choke in just 49 seconds.
Прием растягивает корпус и сдача.
In 2016, the Nomad fought 3 times, showing us how dangerous he got with every passing fight. His match with Adil Barambiev at the Battle of Nomad 7 was the first time the fighter had made it to the second round. Adil would submit to a rear naked choke just seconds before the bell. Then at M1 Challenge 67, Rakhmonov finished Marcelo Brito in the first round with a crushing body shot, forcing him to drop down in agony.
It's the experience of being
Nice body shot.
Oh,
that hurt his liver. That hurt his liver. It's over.
Shavkat's third bout of the year was against Jun Young Park, who faced the same fate as the others before, submitting via rear naked choke.
하지만 라크모노프의 왼손이 지금 깊숙하게 목줄로 들어가서 탭 나왔네요. 이렇게 되면서 라크모노프가
His sambo and jiu-jitsu skills became the core of his game. His determination of not backing down and constantly seeking openings to submit his opponents was what made him stand out. After a 1.5-year break, Shavkat made his return against Levin Solodovnik at M1 Challenge 87, submitting him via triangle choke in the last seconds of the second round. By this point, it was clear that Rakhmonov was a force to be reckoned with. He would go on to secure 4 consecutive TKOs, increasing his win streak to 12. His most notable being against Faradin Odilov at the Battle of Nomad's 10. Faradin came the closest to putting Shavkat to sleep. After an intense back and forth between the two fighters, Shavkat nearly got his head taken off by Odilov in the second round. Faradin connected a massive overhand right, making him lose his balance and fall onto the canvas in a desperate attempt to save himself. Odilov tried to finish it with some brutal ground and pound, forcing Shavkat to do nothing but cover up. Despite all this, the Nomad pulled through in the third round, securing a TKO after he landed a successful takedown and some devastating strikes himself. Amassing a career of 12-0, with none of them going to the judges' scorecards, it was pretty evident that all the big leagues had their eyes on him. Soon enough, Shavkat got a call from the man himself, Dana White, to fight for the UFC at the start of 2020. Unfortunately for Rakhmonov, an untimely world-altering virus, as well as an injury, led to the cancellation of his first 2 bouts. However, in his third scheduled bout, Shavkat was supposed to face Eliseu Zaleski, who later pulled out due to injury, and Alex Oliveira stepped in as a short-notice replacement. When compared to all the guys Rakhmonov had previously fought, the 33-fight veteran was supposed to be the toughest opponent for Shavkat, right? Guess again. Instead, we witnessed the Nomad submitting an extremely experienced opponent with a guillotine choke in the opening round. For his second fight in the promotion, he faced Mikel Prazeres at UFC Fight Night Gain vs. Volkov. This was more of a stepping stone than a step up in terms of opponents. A complete mismatch. Shavkat made Mikel look like an amateur in front of him. Even though Prazeres was 8-1 in his last 9 fights before meeting the Nomad, Rakhmonov's performance completely nullified this, showing insanely precise striking, even connecting a spinning head kick on Mikel. Though Prazeres tried to regain the momentum in the second round, Shavkat was just too much for him. His intense ground and pound, mixed in with great positional work, ultimately earned him a submission victory via rear naked choke.
Prazeres is there's the tap. Wow, Shavkat Rakhmonov still undefeated.
Looking to further increase his dominance and gain more star power, Shavkat approached his third bout against Carlston Harris with more aggression. He managed to land 2 successful spinning kicks, one to the body and the other to the head, before finishing Harris off with a barrage of punches on the ground before the end of the first round.
And still undefeated, Shavkat Nomad Rakhmonov.
As a result, the UFC decided to push Shavkat further into the rankings, setting him up with the highly skilled fighter, Neil Magny. Now, if you know Neil Magny, you know how good of a striker he is, and he is definitely no slouch. Given the somewhat equal odds, it was exciting to see how Shavkat would overcome what Magny brought to the cage. Boy, did he ever pass this test with flying colors. From the opening bell, Rakhmonov dominated Neil, breaking through Magny's defenses in the second round before locking up a guillotine choke, getting the tap. The fight fans in the Americas were finally taking notice. His most recent challenge was in the form of Jeff Neal, who previously pulled out due to injury, but got rebooked at UFC 285 in order to settle their supposed online beef. Shavkat knew he had the world watching him. The man had done enough to put a target on his back, and with that said, he went to war. Rakhmonov, who is normally more calculated in his approach, went for a more reckless and aggressive style once again. This fan-friendly game plan put himself in more danger. After controlling Neil for the majority of the fight, Shavkat was guaranteed a decision win, but he chose to take matters into his own hands. Going into a clinch in the last minute of the final round, he pulled off a standing rear naked choke and forced the ref to step in. This secured him his 17th straight win, with a staggering 100% finishing rate.
Oh, he's choking.
He's on it. He's on it.
I think he tapped with the other hand. He did.
The Nomad's next fight is coming up against the Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson, at UFC 296. Now, on one side, we have Shavkat, an unbeaten warrior who's rounding up bodies like it's nothing. And on the other, we have Thompson, who is somehow defying Father Time and doing something we've never seen by staying in the upper ranks of the welterweight division. Shavkat's going into this match listed as up to a 5-1 favorite, but it's important to note that Stephen Thompson is an absolute sniper at range and is still unbelievably fast. We've seen Rakhmonov deal with every opponent put in front of him and has yet to be defeated in the octagon. He's hungry for it, has a mindset that is dangerous for anyone matched up against him, and we know the Nomad actively seeks opportunities to go for the finish. Something tells me this fight will not go the distance. Well, that does it. If you really want to see the welterweight division's boogeyman clash heads in his next fight with Stephen Thompson, make sure to tune in on December 16th for UFC 296.